Hey guys, it's Undead Chronic, back again with another response video. This time, sit down and let Professor Chronic explain to you some of the intricacies of cuckage, some of the simplicities of simpage. I'm going to explain to you the science behind why leftists are weak men, or another way you could say is most weak men are leftists. Because you're gonna have the oddball, you're gonna have people say Macronic, Hassan Piker is somewhat large, he's a leftist. Well, you know, his ovaries are shown on the inside of his soul, not on the outside. But you see, we are talking about averages, something pretty much virtually all leftists fail to understand. What an average is, what it means, the distribution around a mean. All these things might as well be Harry Potter spells to these children on the left. But the title of this article, or the title of the setting, is Muscular Men Prefer an Unequal Society. Now, doesn't that just sound horrible? What great phrasing they have. Don't you want everything to be equal? You see, it's beaten into people in the West that equality is the God, right? Equality is the God of the West. We need men and women to have equal opportunities. We need whites and non-whites to have equal opportunities. Okay, well, how are you going to ensure that white Buddhas and black Buddhas have equal opportunities when the majority of black Buddhas are being raised by untamed single mother fools that do not appreciate the role of a father in their life? You can't make that equal. Then they just, the left would say, you don't need two parents. A mom can be a father and a son. And then you go up against science. You see, because for as much as these feminist pipe dreams, all these cucklets and commie professors like to smoke their own brand and say that a single woman can raise children effectively as a man and a woman, it's not true. It goes against science. It goes against the numbers. It goes against statistics. So before you rip your hymen in rage and decide to call me an incel, how about you sit back and open your ears and let a scientist educate yourself on just some of the differences between men and women. Now, the men I'm talking about here are men who lift, and the women are men that don't lift and thus have bitch think. This article came out October 10th, 2018 from Aarhus University. The summary is, for men, physical strength and political attitudes are linked. This is not the case for women. New research shows that ancestral human instincts affects men's political reflections. That's right. Being conservative is a positive trait in men, right? Not being willing to cuck yourself ensures your genes go further. It's kind of amazing once you think about it, how simple it is. You see, men who like to cuck themselves don't reproduce. Is that hard to grasp? Now, what we have to understand is that the left, Democrats, commies, those who want to redistribute everything, they want to cuck everybody in mass, right? They want to take your tax dollars, your work, your labor as a man, as a dominant man who is working hard to obtain these resources. These low-value men, these leftist men, want to steal your labor and redistribute it to all the useless men out there, all the men that aren't in your tribe, all the immigrants, all the women, all the single mothers, and all the lazy bastards that just want to sit on their ass all day, right? That's what they want to do. They're basically taking your taxes, and for a man, his financial resources is directly linked to his sexual resources. Again, you could be the ugliest motherfucker in the world, but all you got to do is jump in the Lambo and wave a sack of 20s on any broad walk for broads, and you'll go home with a couple girlfriends. You might even get yourself a loving wife. So by stealing my money through taxes, these leftist men, these weak men that do not lift, are reducing my biological potential. They're reducing my genetic potential to smash these thoughts and dash these thoughts. So what? So these weak men, can be at least a little bit more attractive compared to dominant men. So honestly, if you view these things from biology, leftist men are weak that want to reduce the gene spreadage of men who are successful in the system. So who do you think is going to be more successful with females in general? A guy who goes to the gym or a guy who doesn't? Now you guys might be thinking, I see all these attractive e-girls with these tall and lanky dudes. Yeah, all these tall and lanky dudes with bigger channels than them that make more money than them. That's not the average. Get the hell out of here, bruh. You're in a club. What would you rather have? Would you rather be known as an ally to women? Or would you rather be able to bench 300? You see, any guy who's sexually successful will tell you which one of those two individuals is going to have a greater chance at punyaya that night. But the men who listen to what females say, the men who are not masculine, the men who really don't understand gender dynamics because they're sexual failures, because they were never taught the red pill, of course are the ones pushing for communism. Of course are the ones pushing for cuckage en masse. Because these cuck dogs, what they like to do, they're like eating out of their dog bowl, leftover zinc from the bull run, and they look up and they want to call everybody else a cuck. My one rule with cucks is once you try to cuck me or you insinuate I am a cuck, that's when you gotta discipline the cuck. So right now I'm gonna discipline cucks en masse. All the people that have been talking mad shit on the YouTube channel, be like, oh, you're just a gym bro. I'm a weak 100-pound leftist that gets all this pussy. I'm gonna prove that is not correct. So let's go through the scientific article, Buddhas. Men with large upper bodies have a tendency to favor inequality in society and a limited redistribution of resources. Let me rephrase that. Men who go to the gym don't want to pay taxes to weak people, right? They understand they have to work for what they have. They are at the top of their sexual market value or heading towards the top. And thus, when you say they favor inequality in societies, what is unequal, what is not equal is the fact that I have to work for my resources just so single mother sleuths and their bastards can steal my resources. For what? They don't have to work for that. See, I have to work for resources to become sexually successful. These young thoughts, they just get smashed and dashed, and then guess what? They're sexually successful because they get a free ride off of me. If that doesn't make you upset, congratulations, you're a stage 1 cuck. Continuing, this is the conclusion drawn by Professor Michael Bang Peterson and Associate Professor Laston from the Department of Political Science in a study published in the journal Political Psychology. Yeah, you know what? I bet these two weak leftists were like, yeah, these toxic gym bros are bad. But really, it just proves the fact that right-wing men are more attractive than cucklets. We all knew this. We always have known this. We all know that male feminists, unless they're aided by millions of dollars, are the least attractive things on the planet. Man, I've seen trees get more pussy than male feminists. Up at Woodstock, all these crazy hoes dropping acid trying to get some woody. Male feminists are pathetic. They are genetic dead ends, and the only reproductive strategy male feminists, betas/simps have is forcing their hand through the government to steal resources from successful men to redistribute to hope that they might get a sniff of punyaya. They say, the results challenge the belief that our political views are formed by logic and reason alone. Well, no, I don't argue with that. Maybe the people who like to go to the gym are more logical than those who don't like to go to the gym. I mean, all the benefits of going to the gym have been well documented. If you go to the gym and lift, you're probably not going to be obese. So you could say that those in general that go to the gym are more conscious about their health. They're more concerned about how others view them. They are doing the hard work to be better people in society. And they also happen to be right wing. Oh no! You see, you can't frame it like a positive thing. So you just got to say, these right wingers, it's just their angry testosterone making them hate us all. No, it's not that I don't like the leeches. It's just that I don't like how they suck on me. They're sucking blood out. If you want to suck out some zinc, we can make an arrangement. But if you're trying to suck taxes out of me, we got a problem. Continuing, Modern man thinks with his caveman brain. The new study concerns humans point and one of the most well-documented findings in the study of animals. Physical strength shapes the conflict behavior of animals. If animals are larger and stronger than their rivals, they are prone to attempts to assert themselves in the struggle for status and resources. However, if they are weaker than their rivals, they are more likely to withdraw from the conflict. According to the latest research results from the BSS, the same logic applies to modern men when they reason about political conflicts and the redistribution of resources in society. That's right. If you are a poor person, if you do not pay taxes, if you're given the option, hey, do you want everybody to get taxed so you get some more Gibbs? Or do you want a fair competing system? Of course they're going to choose the Gibbs. Of course they're going to choose to steal from successful men. That's what weak cucklets do. That's what they do. They can't build on their own. Honestly, I can't think of one. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys should let me know in the comments. I can't think of one franchise that started out being inherently leftist that's seen success. All right, now in before all these leftist YouTubers being supported by even bigger simps than themselves. I'm talking about like a video game franchise or a literature franchise, anything like that. It's always a corrupting influence from the weak left. They can't make good products. They just push their ideology. They push their ideology and they push their greedy little fingers into the taxpayer's wallet. Continuing. This logic was adaptive under the conditions of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, as stronger men here would have been able to secure resources on their own. But it's an irrational way of dealing with modern-day political resource conflicts. No, it's not. That's not irrational. Are you telling men to ignore their biological drive not to cuck themselves? You see, these people, these political science, they can say all the biological theorems and truths they want, and I can agree with it or talk about it, but they go, but this for politics, we got to change how we think when it comes to politics. So let me explain something to you. When you're talking in terms of biology, you need to explain things in chemistry terms, because chemistry is more basal than biology, right? You need to understand chemistry to understand biology. In the same way, you need to understand physics to understand chemistry. But what do you need to understand physics? You need to understand math, right? So all these things build on each other. Do you say, these mathematic rules, it makes sense for physics, but you can't apply it to biology. It's more complicated. In the same way, these leftist cucks, even though they've given me this golden chest of facts and loot to dunk on with them, they're saying, the political resource conflict, you can't deal with that off rules of biology. No, yes, you can. You're supposed to. It builds up. You see, if there is a group of 100 men and 100 women, and the political question is like, hey, should we cuck ourselves? And the women all vote yes, and the men all vote no. Do you think there's a biological question there? A biological drive? Any of that? No, you don't. You don't see biology in terms of sociology. See, these people, they love talking about biology when it fits their crooked, twisted ways. But as soon as it comes like, oh, well, since men don't like to be cucked, let's stop importing in millions of men to cuck our country. That's when things get dicey in all these, to be quite frank, female-thinking fools. Because if you're a dude and you're telling me that the urge not to cuck yourself is irrational and you should give it up and be willing to cuck yourself in politics, you are a cuck. You think like a female, and I am not even going to look down on you. You're so beneath me, I can't even make eye contact. And you're not worth speaking to. Telling me I had to cuck. Get out of here. You see, even though these two scientists gave me beautiful data, they're thinking, oh, now we can prove all these right-wingers are thinking off of biology. How disgusting. Yeah? You think basing decisions off biological drives is foolish? Well, then you know what? You're foolish, and I look forward to the future where all your kids that never get born don't exist. They say, today, physical strength is highly unlikely to affect how big a share of society's resources you're able to acquire. No, it's not. You see, they say simple physical strength, but what about the attitudes that bring you to that physical strength? How about discipline? How about going to the gym every day? How about you measure just the average discipline or delayed gratification of gym goers, and then you relate that to being right wing? You see, they don't want to do that because they know what kind of answer they get. People with higher IQs and that they're willing to delay gratification are probably going to go to the gym more and stay on their diets, and they're probably also not willing to just hand out all their money to cucklets, simps, and bastards. She says, however, our data shows that physical strength nonetheless contributes to affect men's political attitudes towards redistribution. According to the researchers, the new results may help explain the paradox of why some men with limited financial resources still favor financial inequality, although they would in fact benefit from a greater redistribution of resources. No, they won't. The only people who benefit from redistribution of resources are, wait for it, bitches. People that don't want to work, or people that just want to sit on their ass, right? Because if everybody gets $1,000, you might be thinking, oh, all these incels would benefit. Now they can get laid. No, they can't. Ho's standards just went up $1,000. It's not these dudes are low T, they'll never get a woman because they're low T. It's there are guys with high testosterone, with bigger muscles and more money, they're attractive. So you can try to redistribute these resources, but the 80-20 rule is a biological rule. It's based in biology. Hypergamy is based in biology. So even though these commie professors are saying, you think these weak men would support communism because they get more punyaya? No, it's not. This is the problem when you switch from biological speaking to leftist pandering, political propaganda speaking. They're trying to convince you to cuck, but they can't, proving it with biology. All I can say is, strong guys are not thinking right. They just know it's not working. The red pill is too strong. Chronic's been dropping them for too long. I'm like, red pill Christmas, leave some joints out on the table. I'm dropping red pills in all you Buddha stockings. They say, our analysis suggests that these men expect to be able to rise in the hierarchy on their own. And once they reach the top of the hierarchy, an unequal society will increase their chances of maintaining that position, says Lawson. You see, she thinks the biological drive is that complicated. It's not. They can explain away all their political pandering, but this is how it is. She says, their analysis shows that these men will be able to rise up and then maintain those positions. That is not, okay, staying at the top of the hierarchy, staying dominant, you don't stay up on it because you want to. It's not like a poll, a stripper poll for all these feminist PhD candidates, right? There's feminist PhD candidates, even in the sciences. There's one, I think she was in a chemistry lab. She would strip at night. She's like, I didn't make any money studying my PhD work, so I strip at night. Oh, you know what else you're not doing? Useless thought. You're not contributing to science. But back to the point, it's not about being on top of the dominance period. It's not about being the hierarchy. Anytime you see hierarchy, and it's written by a leftist, you know it's commie drivel coming off their chin. Hierarchy, unequal societies, power. No, it's not about that. That is not the motivation for biological units. Do you know what it is? Oh man, this could be really offensive. That's sweet. Sweet. Punyada. That's what motivates men. And they know that if they get powerful and dominant, they can get more access to females. But if they vote for leftist politicians who bring in hordes of men to replace them, they're not going to get that sweet punyada, or at least the quality of the punyada they want will go down because there is more competition for it. But all these biological, all these biological truths, if you want to talk about them in terms of immigration, it's horribly offensive. It's horribly unequal. I don't care. I'm the scientist here. You're the propagandists. Welcome to the lab. I'm about to give you a lesson in how to get grilled. Now this is interesting. They say there's no link between women's physical strength and attitudes. I wonder if they'll spin this being that women are angels or they're smarter. Let's find out. The study involves both men and women. But when it comes to women, there is no link between physical strength and political attitudes. According to the researchers, what would be better? A better study to really just own the libs. How about you correlate female fertility, be it through free estrogen levels or how many eggs they have left or such and such, to how they view male feminists? Because I bet the more feminine females despise male feminists, while the females are kind of more butch. Actually, you know what? That might not be an interesting study, because it might just be every single person asked, even male feminists, they all hate male feminists. Even male feminists don't even like themselves. But they say the study involves both men and women, but when it comes to women, there is no link between physical strength and political attitudes. According to the researchers, this complies with the assumption that our approach to modern politics is regulated by ancestral human instincts. Just like other male animals, men have used their physical strength to achieve status, while throughout evolution, women have depended on other strategies to take their lower physical strength into account. Yes, the strategy they have is called hypergamy. I guess cheating is also a strategy, or just being a thought. I guess there's more than one strategy. For that reason, the fact that the correlation is not found in women is an important result in and of itself. Yeah, it is true, because it shows that women aren't concerned about being physically strong because they're not the ones expected to obtain resources or fight, right? See, the physically strong men are the ones that keep, or I say physically strong. When I say physically strong, I'm talking about from an evolutionary perspective, right? The dominant men. So, back when you're a hunter-gatherer, the dude that threw the farthest spear, he was a spear Chad. I threw this spear hundreds of meters. I'm spear Chad. Then he gets a spear all this spear thoughty Tracy's, right? Is that how we're doing it? But today it might just be financial resources, right? So the men with massive amounts of resources, the super dominant ones, the ones with power, they're the ones that run society. They're the ones that build society. They keep things running and such. They do not have the same value set as women because women, they give birth to children and they run the family. That's pretty much what they do. So the fact that a strong woman is no more or less likely to support communism than a weak woman kind of tells me that women in general shouldn't be in charge of whether or not we put communism into place. I'd rather have more differences so we can explain it rather than, oh, they all just kind of support it just because they expect the strong man to come along. Because guess what? All these women are communists when it comes to simps, but they're capitalists. They're ultra capitalists when it comes to getting themselves the Chad. Ask a woman if she'd be down to share her man, her Chad with other females. The way women talk about other women when they're around their man, oh man, there's some red pills in that. They say the researchers believe that the results emphasize the value of involving animal behavior in the theory of evolution, the study of political behavior. It's important to acknowledge if we wish to understand how our political attitudes are formed, they are not just based on reason. Our institutions are adapted to a different environment than the one we live in today. Our skulls house a Stone Age mind, and we need to appreciate that, or we are one animal species amongst a host of others. Also in our approach to modern politics. Yeah, she's going to basically say right-wingers are, cavemen. But here's the thing. You can say, it doesn't make sense that you don't want to cuck yourself. It doesn't make sense you don't want to import these millions and millions of beautiful immigrants. Okay, but it makes sense biologically. And you're going to find out the biggest motivation or motivator in men and women's lives is, guess what? It's their biology. Why do you think dudes are out here going nuts, absolutely losing it, simping to levels never seen before, blowing hundreds of thousands of dollars on thoughts, letting women walk all over them? It's because they have a biological drive to obtain that nut. They want to culturally appropriate. You know what? Maybe I should just say Chronic's going to culturally appropriate some Muslims when he has like 30 kids. So when all these leftists lose their shit, it's like, hey, I'm just appropriating. I'm Muslim now. Ain't no problem. Well, I could go over the stats, but I think I've done a pretty good job showing how these leftists, they did this study thinking it would be a slam dunk on the right, like, all these right-wing guys, they just think with their muscles instead of their brains. It's no, we stay in line with our biology, and our biology says, thou shalt not cuck. Well, that's all for today. It's been Undead Chronic, guys. Take it easy.
A world where freedom itself is under attack.